mentoring is critical to setting up a perfect cake brand. An experienced baker can assist you to grow and avoid unnecessary pitfalls on your journey to the top. If you want to go far in any walks of life, find a mentor to carry you along. This is Baker's World on NTAi. Here you can learn all you need to know about trending cake recipes, decoration, cake shows, and many more from the comfort of your home. I am Funke Oyeyele. Many thanks for watching. Today on the program, we'll be showing you how to bake a bun. We'll let you into a world in our conversation room. Also, we have baker's gist and more for your viewing pleasure. Watching the show today promises to be exciting and interesting, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. On this segment, our guest baker, Tayo, and assistant will show us how to make a cinnamon cake. A cinnamon cake is a delight for your tea time treat and celebration. Let's hand over to our baker and see how it goes.
First, we're going to start with adding sugar and butter together and creaming them properly in the mixer. So we're going to be using an electric stand mixer, which is going to whip it up really fast so that we can move into the rest. And then we turn on the mixer and put it at medium-high speed so it mixes up really fast without losing any of its air. While that is going on, we're going to mix all of our dry ingredients together. Of course, that's where the cinnamon comes in. So we have our baking powder, we have the salt, and finally we have the cinnamon that makes the cake what it really is. Tear it properly together with a good whisk. Right now, our cream mixture has been on for about 15 minutes and it's fully creamed, looking very light and fluffy, ready to be mixed with the other wet and dry ingredients. Can you see it looking so beautiful and yummy already? From this point, I'll be working with my whisk and then eventually I'll fold in with the spatula. So first, we're going to put in the eggs one at a time. You incorporate it really nicely. You beat each egg for 1 minute before you put in another one. I love to use the whisk because it makes cakes very, very fluffy. It's my number one go-to tool when mixing my cakes. And now we're putting the last egg. At this point, we add in our vanilla, could be extract, could be essence. Now you mix it in. Now we have our egg and vanilla essence nicely incorporated into the cream mixture. At this point, we're going to start to add our dry ingredients alternately with the milk. This is a very important stage of baking. When you are incorporating your flour, you don't beat it hard. You do it gently and nicely, and you just fold in so that you don't activate gluten in the flour, or else you have a tough cake. When it's all completely gone in, you pour half of the milk. Just as before. Just fold in really nicely and gently. Now we are putting in the very last batch of the flour. This place is already filled with the aroma of cinnamon. I'm beginning to imagine how nice it will be to eat this sandwiched with orange marmalade. Now I'm going to share the batter into 2 8-inch pans equally. Now you spread it in the tin or baking pan so that it bakes nice and even. Now they are both ready to go into the oven.
In a short while, we'll be taking you to the chat room where our guest baker will be sharing with us our experiences in the baking industry. And that will be after the short break. Don't go anywhere.
I'm actually a passionate baker. I don't rest until everything is done.
When I entered university, anytime I'm broke, I'll make cupcakes and go and sell to the other students.
Decorating cake it's an artistic thing, and art is, dynamic.
Join us on Baker's World every Thursday on the network service of the NTAi. Baker's World, celebrating creativity. Don't miss it.
Being a baker, the first thing is the fulfillment from being an artist. When you see your work after all said and done, and then you see, oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
Our guest today is an intelligent and gifted cake artist. Tayo Olorutoba was born on April 28, 1985. She is an indigene of Ijebu-Ijesha in Oriade local government area, Osun State. This amazing baker had a primary education at Air Force Primary School, Victoria Island, Lagos, and proceeded to Air Force Comprehensive School, Ibadan. Tayo is a graduate of Medical Rehabilitation in Physiotherapy from the University of Maiduguri, Borno State. When in active service as a physiotherapist, Tayo Olorutoba ventured into cake making business to keep abreast with baking as a passion and have an extra source of income. As she has always been in love with art, Tayo adopts cake designing as another form of art expression to display her artistic talent. At a point in her life when she had to bow to her passion, Tayo attended some professional trainings in cake making and decoration. She is a wife and blessed with children. Our guest is the founder and CEO of TC Cakes. Join us as we welcome this focused, resourceful and articulate cake artist, Tayo Olorutoba.
You're welcome back. You're still watching Baker's World on NTAi. I have with me today a very talented baker. Madam, you're welcome to Baker's World.
Thank you.
Physiotherapy, baking, worlds apart. How did you make a switch from being a physiotherapist to becoming a baker?
I didn't actually think I was going to make a switch. I thought I could do it all, have my physiotherapy by the side and have my baking career and my artistry at the side. But, once marriage comes in and children come in, the responsibilities increase. So at some point you have to prioritize and choose.
So at what point did you decide to choose baking instead of, saying physiotherapy is the way to go? I know you said you're still a physiotherapist, but at what point did you say, yes, it's now going to be baking for now?
I had to choose at the point when I couldn't bear it anymore. I wasn't giving my best at work. I wasn't giving my best to my clients. So I now had to think, what would I do that I wouldn't feel like I lost something? So I decided to have more like a pause. I am still a physiotherapist in them because I love to work with my hands. So the same thing shows in my cake work. So I had to choose because doing cakes allows me to be at home.
Since you've been in the baking industry, who are the people that have inspired you?
First of all, my mom. My mom had a form of cake training before, so I learned to bake from her. I started decorating buttercream. Just older aunties and uncles were patronizing me to make some cake for them and all. Been inspired by people like Tosan. I've been inspired by NTAi. She's a rave now and she's doing very well and she's very open. She has been good to me. And then Auntie Judy of Cheesecake Express, she has also been good to me. Those are people that I can call anytime I run into a problem or I need an advice regarding work.
When you want to make a cake for a client, what is your creative process like? How do you start to when you finish making the cake?
There are many parts to that. There are some clients that allow you to just do what you like to express yourself, and there are some that will just send you a photo. I want you to replicate this for me. So, but of course, my favorite is where I have to create. Now, my own creative process, it comes in two ways. I either just leave it so I go with the flow to the point of decoration, or I draw a sketch. I like to draw and then translate it. Sometimes I'll send the drawing to the client if it's okay, and then we go ahead and make it. And then sometimes I'll just give me a cake. So of course I get to create that as well. And then after I'm done, I bake the cake, decorate. Sometimes I have time to take a photo to send to a client that, are you cool with it? So I'll know if I should make an adjustment or not before we send it out.
So let's talk about the cake you're making for us today. You're making a cinnamon cake and with a bridal shower theme cake. Now, what type of cake is this, and on what occasion do people usually order for this cake?
It's a cinnamon cake. So the very key ingredient is cinnamon. It's a spice that is very common with the British. So technically, it's more for people that we'll call the old souls because it has a British taste to it. But all the same, it's a fun cake that you can enjoy at parties, you can enjoy it at tea events, you can enjoy it on your own at home and just enjoy. For people that like to binge eat cake, it's something you'll really like. And this particular one is the buttery type. When you eat it, it melts in your mouth, and just enjoy. All the flavors will just burst open. For the design itself, I came up with a concept of an African bride, but still with her white outfit. So we're going to be using wafer paper to create ruffles that will create the train of her dress, and the bride herself will be a sitting silhouette.
Can you share with us your proudest moment so far?
I've had lots of proud moments, but the one dearest to my heart was the fact that I was able to nail my wedding cake the way I wanted it. Far back as 2012, I was just a very young baker, barely 2 years into baking, and I decided that I was going to make my wedding cake. So there was this trending chandelier design back then. Of course, I had no one to put me through, so I just looked at it and then thought that there has to be a way this could work. So I had to go from the welder, do a lot of calculations, had the frame made, had all the hanging, bought the chandelier rings from Lagos and everything. I put it together, and based on my standards back then, it was really beautiful, and I was so happy that I did that.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
That was our conversation with the CEO of TC Cakes, Tayo Oloruntoba. Our cinnamon cake will soon be used to create a design suitable for a bridal shower event. But before then, we have baker's gist for you. Decorating techniques on cakes or pastries are infinite, and a decorator is only as good as his or her work tools. Walking down the aisle of a cake shop to pick up the right tools to use could be very overwhelming and confusing, as there are tons and various tools to select from. But do not fret, as we have a list of the basic tools you will need to decorate your cake. A cake leveler. These tools allows you to know when your cake is flattened out and straight after you have removed the hump from your freshly baked cake. A cake board. This comes in varying sizes and shapes. It could be a round or a square cutout. Having your cake on a board allows you to put a border around your cake, and you can add any design of your choice. The turntable. Once you have placed your cake on a board, then you can place it on the turntable for easy motion while you frost your cake. The turntable is a tool with a flat platform which is designed to spin and allow efficient decoration. A spatula and a scraper. A spatula is used to add frosting on the top and side of the cake. Then you can use the scraper to plaster and smoothen out the layer of the cake. Piping bags, decorative tip, and coupler. The decorative tips are small cone tools of different sizes used to create beautiful details on and around the cake by squeezing frosting through them. The piping bag is used together with a decorating tip and a coupler to keep the icing contained. The coupler goes inside the piping bag and it is used to hold the decorating tape in place. Once you can get your hands on these basic tools, you can achieve a great cake art with any frosting of your choice.
Our cake is well cooled and chilled and ready to be trimmed and made neat for decoration. So I'm placing this to ensure the cake doesn't slide off when it's on its way to reach its owner. Okay, so I'm going to be putting a filling that goes well with the butterscotch sponge that we're pairing our cinnamon cake with, so that the clients can have options of more than one cake to enjoy at their event. And I place the next layer. You have to ensure there are no gaps so that your cake doesn't sink in afterwards. Now we'll be putting the next layer, which is the cinnamon cake. But before then, we're still going to sandwich it over this one. So we'll put another filling of dulce de leche as we did earlier. Okay. So this is our very buttery cinnamon cake. It's going right on top. I can't even wait to have a taste of the crumbs that will fall off when we're trimming. It's still cool, so it's quite firm. Okay. So now I'm just going to trim off the dome, the little dome on the top of this cake. I'm even excited to trim it because I want to see how it looks on the inside. If you're not so good at using a knife to trim, you could just easily use a cake trimmer. This is the orange marmalade that will be nicely paired with our cinnamon cake as a filling. So for the last layer, I'm going to trim the dome off before placing it on the cake. There we go. Now I'm going to trim the sides of the cake so that we can have a neat finishing while we work on the icing of the cake. When you trim, you just saw gently. Your hand very straight. Ensure that your knife is perpendicular to your board. So the cake is all nicely trimmed, and we're going to do the first coating, which we call crumb coating, before we put the final layer of our pretty pink buttercream. So I'll be using just the plain colored buttercream. Always start from the base to secure your cake from shaking around all over the board. And then you cover up where the layers join each other. Now I use my spatula to spread as much as possible. Now I'll be using my scraper to make it look neat and even. It's all part of the crumb coating process. Okay, so the crumb coating has been finished. Now we're going to be putting the finishing layer for our cake. It's going to be a really soft pink that just shows subtlety, and I want to believe our client, our bride, is a subtle woman. So now we're going to use our soft pink for our final coating. I always like to apply it all the way around from the beginning so that I don't have problems with gaps and air bubbles. First, I spread the buttercream with the spatula. So now I'm going in for the final scraping. Always use a sturdy scraper for this. We're done with our buttercream. Nice straight sides and lovely sharp edges. Now we're going to move on into preparing the decorations to turn it into a bridal shower cake. Right, so we're going to be using wafer paper to make the ruffles that would make the train of the bride in show. So we just need to cut it into a few strips and use the steamer to make it into the shape that we want. So now we have a ruffle, or a piece of ruffles, that it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. So here is our African styled bride. Now I start to place the ruffles. So that's the bride with her very long ruffled train. It makes a perfect bridal shower cake.
Oh, this cake looks so lovely. I think you have to agree with me that everything combines well. This is a true African-inspired bridal shower theme cake. Well done, but let's have the taste of the cake.
All right.
Very, very delicious. Very delicious, very moist, and of course I can taste the cinnamon in it, and I tell you, this really combines well with all the filling inside it. I'm sure you can also try something like this at home if you like. So remember that if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go very far, make sure you go with a mentor. Well, that's all we have for you today on Baker's World. Till we come your way next week with a more exciting episode of Baker's World, you can reach us on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. It's Baker's World on NTAi. Till next week, I am Funke Oyele. Bye for now.